Dale limosna, mujer, que no hay en la vida nada como la pena de ser ciego en Granada. Give him alms, woman, for there is nothing in life like the sadness of being blind in Granada. Dear brothers, that was the precious tribute that I read many years ago to that beautiful city in southern Spain, in Andalusia, where our brother, Blessed Leopold of Alpandeire, spent 42 years of his life as a Capuchin. I have never forgotten those words, and I have never forgotten the visit I made to his very modest tomb in the crypt of the Capuchin church there. Leopold was baptized as Francisco Tomas and was a farm boy from the village of Alpandeire. When he entered the novitiate in 1900 at the age of 34, his novice master did not give him a selection of names to choose as his name in the order. He simply gave him the name of Leopold, a name which struck the new friar like a cold shower, as he said. Incidentally, it also says something of how we came to have two saintly Capuchin friars with the same name, Saint Leopold Mandic of Croatia and Blessed Leopold Marquez Sanchez of Spain. Following profession, the Leopold we remember today spent several years at various friaries in the province of Andalusia until he was sent to Granada in 1914. That friary turned out to be his lasting home, and his assignment there as quaestor was the only assignment he had until he died in 1956. What is remarkable about Brother Leopold was how unremarkable his life was. He did his work faithfully and lovingly, going from house to house, begging for the needs of the friary and for the poor, as all of our saintly quaestors through the centuries have done. The people of Granada came to know him and appreciate his holiness. When he received any kind of offering, he would pray 3 Hail Marys with and for the benefactor. He would do the same thing with anyone who asked for his prayers. He became known as the 3 Hail Mary friar, just as our own dear Father Christopher became known as the Guadalupe friar, with his spread of devotion to Our Lady of Guadalupe. Leopold never built a grand hospital for the poor like Padre Pio did. He was not a priest, and so he never gave great homilies. He never became an outstanding missionary to foreign lands. His holiness was something like that of the little flower, Saint Teresa of Lisieux, a holiness that he cultivated even before he entered the order. He was generous to a fault, as they say, by dividing his lunch with shepherds who were poorer than he was, by giving not the shirt off his back, but the shoes off his feet to a poor man who needed them, by sharing the meager wages he earned from harvesting grapes at a neighboring vineyard to poor people he met on the way home. His was a life of love for God, of prayer, of work, of devotion to Our Lady and penance. So what was his cloister then? His cloister became the streets of Granada, and his contacts with the people his path to holiness. An opportunity to take up their burdens by his loving understanding. As one person put it, he was distinct but not distant. Now, you may be wondering, as I had been, how he survived the terrible civil war that devastated Spain from 1936 to 1939. Thousands of churches were destroyed. And of the 30,000 priests and religious in Spain in 1936, 6,800 were killed, including 13% of the diocesan priests and 23% of religious, as were 13 bishops and 283 nuns. What about Leopold? What happened to him? The biographer who prepared the brief for his canonization, his beatification, tells us he received both insults and death threats. Almost every day there were those who threw stones at him. And once he only escaped becoming another martyr like St. Stephen because of some men who came to his defense. During the month of August 2010, in a circular letter to the friars, our former Minister General, Brother Mauro, had this to say about Leopold. Was there, I wonder, some secret to account for the life of our questing brother? Yes, there was. The secret of his life was his prayer, his union with God, and his work. He transformed everything into a prayer, and his prayer was his most precious work. His was not a life of grand gestures or particular events, except for those things that are normally required of anyone embracing the religious life. Those things that are normally required of anyone embracing the religious life are the things that you and I are called to do, dear brothers. Those things are what Brother Leopold embraced with all his heart. For doing those things, on September 12th, 2010, in the presence of more than 60,000 people, he was beatified during a special Mass on the grounds of the Army base just outside the lovely city of Granada, a city made even more beautiful because our holy brother once walked its streets. Amen.